Namaskar. Um, Today I want to present something very different. It's not exactly Jyotish, I'll be honest. And I've been debating with myself, should I even make this video? And it's not just this video, I've always have ideas beyond Jyotish which I want to talk about, which is about in general about society, about dharma. And I'll just come what I mean about dharma. Not it's not exactly I'm talking of religion over here, but on these things I would like to talk about. But I have hesitated because I always felt, is it my uh, you know uh, am I qualified enough to talk about these things? But yet I do have very strong opinions on this front, and I thought it's better to, instead of keeping it within my heart, to actually share. And I feel it's important for people who listen to my presentations and who follow me to know what sort of thinking I have. Uh, Maybe they may not like to follow me after all, after knowing my opinions about things. Uh, and this dovetails into the way that we look at education, in Indian context. uh, it was not like you went to a college and you had a certain elective, certain credits to be done, and a teacher will come and he will just give you some gyan on that. We actually used to go to a gurukul, spend time with the teacher, not just learn the subject or the knowledge, say be it Veda or some Vedanga, but actually see how the teacher is actually living his life and following the precepts of that particular subject. I personally have not just learned the techniques of Jyotish from my Gurudev, uh, Pandit Sanjay Rath, Srimati Sarbani Rath, and most importantly, my Guru for Parashara Jyotish course, uh, uh, my mentor, Sri Visti Larsen. I've not just learned the techniques or the subject alone, but also how they go about things. And this happened because of me getting the good fortune of spending time with them, seeing them. And they also shared how they, you know it's not just about analyzing charts, but about how they would go about counseling people. And that's how we give education, right? So it's important that someone, if he's giving some even Jyotish knowledge, what sort of person is he, is important to understand that. Okay. And you may then decide that, whether you like to further follow this person or not follow this person. I'm not a guru over here, okay, nor am I trying to do. But even if as a YouTube presenter, it's interesting, it's good for you to know a little bit more about my opinions. um, and what I wanted to talk about specifically was what of words I used, dharma, and that's where I would like to start talking about, because there's so much to express that I don't know where to really start. But that is one good place to start from. And when I'll try to make a little bit of Hindi in between. Uh, it's comfortable, and also I think it would help a lot more audience to follow me. तो जब हम धर्म की बात करते हैं, मेरा अर्थ, जैसे हम हिंदू धर्म या इस्लामिक धर्म या क्रिश्चियनिटी, इस ये नहीं है, रिलीजन नहीं है। धर्म, उसके लिए एक अलग शब्द मेरे हिसाब से इस्तेमाल करना चाहिए। हम लोग देखते हैं कि अधिकतर न्यूज़ में हो, सोशल मीडिया में हो, जहाँ भी हो, हम लोग धर्म जब ये शब्द का इस्तेमाल करते हैं, हम एक रिलीजन के हिसाब से बात करने की कोशिश करते हैं, बट इट शुड नॉट बी। उसके लिए सही वर्ड होगा मत या संप्रदाय। बिकॉज जैसे कि मैं कृष्ण को मानता हूँ, या शिव को मानता हूँ, या इन सबको भी मानता हूँ, या कोई अल्लाह को मानता है, ये मत है। धर्म हमारा जो, अगर हम हमारे शास्त्रों में देखें, तो जिस तरीके से वो शब्द को इस्तेमाल किया गया वो इस चीज़ के लिए नहीं है, बट इट हैज़ बीन करप्टेड ओवर हियर. दिस वर्ड dharma is being used, and because of this people don't really understand what is the real meaning of dharma. Okay, so dharma is, in any context, किसी भी संदर्भ में हमारा दायित्व क्या है. इन एनी कॉन्टेक्स्ट what is our role, what is our responsibility, what sort of duties we have to do. एक पिता का अपने पुत्र और पुत्रियों के प्रति धर्म होता है. उसी का एक अपने एक पति का भी धर्म होता है पत्नी की तरफ. ऐसे अलग अलग रिलेशनशिप्स के थ्रू आप नौकरी के लिए जाते हैं कहीं. ओके, आप एम्प्लॉई हैं तो आपके एम्प्लॉयर के लिए, आपकी कंपनी के लिए आपका क्या धर्म है. या आप एक बिजनेस चला रहे हैं तो आपके अपने एम्प्लॉयज़ के लिए के प्रति क्या धर्म है. ये है दायित्व. ये एक जैसे एक एक्टर एक रोल परफॉर्म करता है एक नाटक में, उस तरीके से, राइट. एंड इस सब में हम एक्सपेक्ट क्या करते हैं, ये मतलब ये करने का मीनिंग क्या है, या एंड गोल क्या है, रिजल्ट क्या है. वाई आर वी डूइंग दिस थिंग्स, वाई आर वी हैविंग ऑल दिस रोल्स. इट इज़ टू एंश्योर दैट बाय डूइंग आवर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज टुवर्ड्स एवरीवन, right, if everyone does that, there is a stability in the system. स्थिति बोलते हैं इसको. स्थिति बनी रहती है. आप जब सुबह हो आप एक्सपेक्ट करोगे कि भाई जो न्यूज़पेपर डालने वाला हो न्यूज़पेपर डाल दिया हो, दूध वाला दूध डाल दिया हो, या कोई सब्जी वगैरह हो, वो आपके एम्प्लॉयज़ एक्सपेक्ट करेंगे कि भाई 10 बजे हो गए, आप ऑफिस आए, काम पे लग गए हो, राइट. तो ऐसे हर देर इज़ एन एक्सपेक्टेशन, एंड बिकॉज दोज एक्सपेक्टेशंस आर मेट देर इज स्टेबिलिटी. जो दूध वाला वो अपना धर्म निभाता है, इसलिए उसको पैसा मिलता है, और जिससे वो अपनी रोजी रोटी, अपने परिवार का पालन पोषण कर सकता है, राइट. तो हर एक ये धर्म की वजह से दे आर एबल टू मेंटेन देमसेल्व्स. दैट इज़ व्हाट वी मीन बाय स्थिति एंड स्टेबिलिटी. एंड जहाँ ये स्टेबिलिटी ख़त्म हो जाती है, जैसे कि आप देखते हैं जहाँ भी आज की तारीख में जहाँ भी युद्ध होते हैं, जैसे इसराइल में हो रहा है, या फिलिस्तीन गजा में हो रहा है, या यूक्रेन में हो रहा है, वहाँ ये पूरा चीज़ उथल पुथल हो जाता है. लोग अपना धर्म फॉलो नहीं कर पाते हैं. एक पिता अपने पुत्र, अपने परिवार का पालन पोषण नहीं कर पाता है. तो it is very important for dharma to be followed that there is no chaos, there is no anarchy, the rule of law is followed, and the responsibility of ensuring this is of the king, right. जो राजा है उसका धर्म है कि धर्म का आचरण सोसाइटी में हो, समाज में हो. तो जो हम सुनते हैं पहले के ज़माने में जो भी राजा होते थे, गो और ब्राह्मण के परिपालक, ये एक धर्म का इम्पोर्टेंट आचरण था. क्यों गो और ब्राह्मण का? गो का अर्थ सिर्फ गाय नहीं है. गो का अर्थ ज्ञान है, नॉलेज है. बिकॉज गाय जो है वो ब्राह्मण का पालन पोषण करती है, एंड ब्राह्मण का पालन पोषण, ब्राह्मण का की थिंग क्या है? वेद और वेदांग का स्वाध्याय और उसकी शिक्षा देना औरों को. और उस वजह से समाज में ज्ञान का डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन होता है, ज्ञान प्रदान होता है. और अगर देखिए हमारा जो सोसाइटी है, आवर सोसाइटी हैज़ ऑलवेज कंसिडर्ड knowledge as the most important thing. In other societies, the kings would be at the top of the society, which you may say Kshatriyas. But in our society, it is the Brahmins or Brahmanas who are at the top of society, because they are supposed to live, I mean, I'll come to that later. They're supposed to live a very hard and disciplined life, and their only focus is knowledge. And by ensuring that knowledge is focused upon, they're ensuring the good of the society. Like in today's situation, you have scientists, though I would not say exactly, because the scientists, they lack religion. I mean, they lack what you call spirituality. Many of them, not all, not all. I'm not talking scientists as a community in general, but I'm saying many of the scientists. Or there's this definitely dichotomy between science and spirituality, which is a very modern thing. Um, but uh, uh, but still, you understand that a scientist is so important for modern society. They today, all the modern technologies that we have, I'm able to speak to you, it is definitely due to the contribution of scientists, right? So knowledge is very important for the evolution of society, and this is something our ancients have understood, and hence they always consider knowledge as at the top. So hence the people who are dealing with the knowledge should be at the top. Anyway, that is one part of dharma, but that's not the main thing which I want to talk about. But the reason why does stability have to be maintained? The reason is that we all have karmas, right? What all the thoughts, all the philosophies in India, be it uh, the Hindu systems of thought, various darshanas, Samkhya, Vedanta, Purvamamsa, Vaisheshika, whatever, all of them, or be it the Nastika darshanas like Bauddha, Jaina, etc., all of them, सारे जो ये दर्शन हैं, इनमें एक कॉमन चीज़ है कि वो कर्म पे बिलीव करते थे कि एक कर्म नाम की कोई चीज़ होती है, और उस कर्म की वजह से ये संसार चक्र चलता है. संसार चक्र का अर्थ है कि जन्म और पुनर्जन्म, जन्म और पुनर्जन्म. एक आत्मा जो है वो फिर से बार बार अलग अलग शरीर धारण करता है, जिसको हम जन्म कहते हैं. आत्मा कभी मरता या पैदा नहीं होता. आत्मा, जो हम आत्मा हैं, हम सब एक ही हैं, एक ही आत्मा है, परमात्मा से रिलेटेड हैं हम सब. बट ये अलग अलग शरीर धारण करता है. जैसे गीता में कहा गया कि आप अलग अलग वस्त्र जैसे धारण करते हैं और छोड़ते रहता है. तो ये जो चक्र है, इसको हम संसार चक्र बोलते हैं, और इससे निकलना ही परम धाम है. गेटिंग आउट ऑफ दिस इज द अल्टीमेट गोल. And that getting out of this is what is known as moksha or mukti or nirvana, kaivalya, whatever. There are various names for it with slight technical differences, but the key thing is to get out of this. And this understanding of karma is very unique to our Indian civilization, and then some other civilizations accepted it primarily due to Buddhism. It went to Southeast Asia or Tibet or China, Japan, etc. But this is something which is very radically different from the Western way of thought. For them, there is nothing called karma. This life is the life. At the end of this, you die, and then either you go to heaven or hell. For us, this is a cyclic thing. It keeps on happening till you finish your karmas. And hence there is a reason why you should be doing, why you should follow dharma, why you should not steal from others, right? uh, and even if, let's say, you have stolen from other, is there an atonement? Okay, are you castigated to everlasting hell forever? No, in our case we don't believe like that. Yes, you may go to hell, but for a certain period of time. After, it's like हम जेल जाते हैं, हमने कोई गुनाह किया है तो हम जेल जाएंगे, एक पर्टिकुलर टाइम स्पेंड करेंगे जो भी कोर्ट ने निर्धारित की हो एज पर द लॉ, एंड देन आफ्टर दैट वी कम आउट, राइट? सो that is, and then you start your life anew, and again you gain your karmas or whatever, right? So that is the way in which we have thought. Now, to ensure that the living beings are able to do their karmas in this world, they are able to be born, they should be able to live for a certain point of time. Imagine if there is chaos and anarchy like is happening in Afghanistan. A child is born, it is dead in 5 days. What karma will it finish, right? Its father would have had some karma of taking care of the child, but the child is dead now. What karma will he finish? So again they will have to take birth. So it is the job of the society, and particularly the people who take care of the society, that is the kings or the ruling class, to ensure that there is dharma, the dharma is maintained, right? And they will get take guidance from the rishis, the brahmanas, of how to go about it. And then there were the dharma shastras, etc., to to govern these aspects. Now that is where I would like to talk about, because while the ultimate goal is moksha, and for that we require peace, right? But we live in a society, we live in certain times that there are there are people who have a different philosophy of life. Now, we in India have always been tolerant of people having different philosophies. Yeah, you may not believe in karma, no problem. Okay, uh, you may not think that there is a god in an idol, no problem. Okay, you may not believe in our beliefs and our practices, that's all fine, right? You can follow whatever you want, but let me follow my own. Hmm? Unfortunately, over the last 1,000+ years, that is not the case in India. Those of us who are of Sanatana Dharma, we are not allowed to follow our religion in peace, right? Um, you have a once in a lifetime. I mean, what a lifetime! Once in lifetimes event, like a Pran Pratishtha of the temple of Ram Lalla, and in a certain state, people are not allowed to watch it together in a community, in a gathering. They are not allowed to go to temples and celebrate this event. Can you imagine this happening to anyone else? And yet in this country it is said that the minorities are getting persecuted. I really don't know. I sometimes feel Hindus are a minority in this country, the way they are treated. Um, so should we talk about these things? Because what happens is, when you talk about this, you are trying to study about yoga, about um, pranayam and dharana and dhyan and samadhi and all that. You're trying to read the scriptures, and you don't want to really get involved in all these things, right? But it is tough to be silent on these things when you come across such um, blatant injustice. I must say this is injustice, very clearly injustice. Having said that, I I mean, we have gone through much more in our long history. Uh, Imagine those conditions, when the Turkic invaders attacked India in uh, 10th to 12th centuries, and even later, um, when massive temples like Somnath were destroyed. Uh, I mean, there are. I have read the history. I'm a history follower of history. Also, I've read a lot on this. Also, it's it gives you shivers what those people have gone through. At least we don't have to go through these things. Um, but key thing, what I wanted to say is that we are not against anyone following their religion, their beliefs, their precepts. We believe ultimately, uh, Paramahamsa Sri Ramakrishna has said that all ways are valid, and he is one who has actually practiced. He actually practiced Islam and Christianity for a certain time, till the time he realizes what is the teachings of Christ, what is the teachings of Prophet Muhammad, etc. He did that. And you know, definitely all religions have grains of truth in them, and you know, everyone has their right to follow it, but you have no right to disturb someone else, right? And unfortunately, it's also the job of society to protect the dharma. Mm. That's why one of my most favorite historical personalities is Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, such a great man. And even recently during the Pran Pratishtha of Ramlalla, um, the chief priest, I think his name is Govindji Maharaj, he talked about, he compared Modi ji to um, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, in the sense of uh, like a Raja Rishi. So he ensured in his times, and left a legacy in very very tough circumstances of uh, of ensuring that dharma is followed. And while you know, it's my job to be like a brahmana, ensuring that I study the Vedanga, and focus on that. But being a member of the society, eh, while I may not take up arms, or I may not, that is not, that maybe that is not my role in this society, maybe not my role in this lifetime, but certainly it's something I do have opinions about and would like to talk about. That uh, this is also important, um, that there is this defense wall to protect us. It is not to attack anyone. Our intention is not to go out and harm anyone. Uh, we have absolutely no interest in converting. We do talk of ghar pa vapsi and all that, and okay, you know, those who want to come, let them come back rather. Um, and then there are a lot of people in the West nowadays, and I know some of my friends are, you know, who have got so attracted to to our Hindu way of life that they want to adopt it. They even adopt Hindu names. They get a diksha. And they, in fact, they follow it much better than some of the Hindus, I would say. No problem. If it see, it has to be something. It comes from the heart. It's like I going towards it. The shishya goes to the guru. The guru doesn't go to the shishya. That is a big difference, you know, of us versus these other religions, where they believe in preaching, in going and converting. So it is like the teacher going to the shishya. That is not what we believe is the right way. Okay, the thirsty person goes to the well. The well stays where it is. Right? There's a saying, right? Abdullah going to the mountain, or mountain going to Abdullah, like that. The guru is a mountain, Achala, right? Huge. He's a storehouse of virtue. You expect guru to come to you? That is not the right thing as far as we are concerned. But okay, you follow it, fine, but don't disturb us. Let us follow our religion. You have some people who don't even believe in in a particular deity, and yet they go about lodging cases uh, to get entry in some temple. There are certain temples where there are restrictions for different sorts of people. There is Shabrimala, for example, where menstruating women are not allowed. Either young, it's not like women are not allowed altogether, but menstruating women are not allowed. Either, you know, young girls before the menstruation, or after post menopause, they can visit, like old women. That's the belief. For that matter, there's a temple in Ganjam of Shakti Devi as Tara Tarini and Adi Shakti, where it is women who dominate. I think I've heard, I have not gone over there, but that all the priests are women, the all the people serving inside are women. Even the all these flower sellers and other shopkeepers are women in that entire area. No man is allowed to do. Men can obviously go and take darshan if they want, but there's a importance given to women over there. So each we believe that there are the difference being is that while we believe in one ultimate God, uh, it's not even right to call God, it's one ultimate principle which is indefinable, unmanifest, unchanging, everything, right? Of which we are also that in a smaller sense. And we really, when we realize, we go back to that, or it's not going back, it's just realizing that we are that. But for an ordinary person, like all of us are ordinary, I mean, I'm not talking about myself as extraordinary, all of us are ordinary. We can't imagine God in that way. It's even tough to describe it. How to, for example, uh, you may fall in love with some lady. With this, there's a form, there's something about the person, like the way they talk, their behavior, there's so much. This entire package of the person is what you love, and you can ascribe something to it. It is you need a form, you need speech, you need sound, smell, and everything, all the senses. That's how we can imagine things. So it's very tough for ordinary humans to imagine God in that way. So hence we gave forms, right? And not just that, we believe there's divinity in everything. Even a mountain has a divinity. Even animals have divinity in them, because ultimately we are all the same souls, right? Only the body is different. Even the dog has a soul, even I have soul, even trees have soul. So hence we worship trees also. So there is a belief in multiplicity, in different approaches, in different ways, and ours is a um, philosophy where everything was well integrated. I'll come to that, maybe not today. I'll discuss that some time other. But there's there's a meaning for everything, and there's an integration of all of these things. And depending on the need, the psychological need or spiritual need or whatever you may call it, you go to that particular thing. Sometimes I worship Shiva, sometimes I worship Krishna, sometimes Rama, sometimes only the name Rama comes to my mind, to my mouth. It's so I love it. And that is the kind of a broader outlook or liberal outlook that we have in these matters. And some people, just for, I don't know what is it that prompts this thing, that you know it's just to prove that your beliefs are not right. That is not good. My beliefs are my beliefs. Who are you to judge? I have not disturbed you in any way. I have not caused anyone any harm. I have not humiliated anyone, right? So it's important that we are able to protect this dharma. Now I am not I'm pretty hopeful, rather, because I feel there's a charm in the charm of the Indian way of life is that we don't really have to go with a sword to get someone to come to us. We, in fact, we don't need anyone to come to us. People come to us on their own accord. Okay. And the good thing in this is that when people come, at least, you see, when Swami Vivekananda went to the West in 1892 or 83, and he gave his speech in Chicago, and then so many talks over there, people got exposed to the Hindu philosophy and thought and all that, and started sympathizing. They may not become Hindu, and we need not want also them to become Hindu, but at least they understand our perspective and also see some value, and taking some aspects of that which they may find useful. For example, Patanjali's Yoga Sutras became very, very popular, right? And there are two books which are considered very popular in the West as far of Indian philosophy. One is Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and the other is Patanjali Yoga Sutras. It is the second most, I think, widely translated book apart from the Gita. So There's some aspects from that, and from that anyway people took yoga asana, the asana aspect, hatha yoga asana of that. So it's okay, whichever way. The key thing is they then start sympathizing, or understanding, because the ways of the West are very different from us. Okay, so I think I'm very hopeful of that, because whatever has happened in the last 150 years, yes, while uh, there has been at times hardening of stances by people of other religions, and more importantly, uh, not as much from other religions, but from what you call this liberal people, I think, who feel the necessity to meddle, or liberal or atheist people. Okay, and especially when they are linked to political class. Okay, there are certain political ideologies who ascribe to this, and hence they make it a point, okay, of meddling in temple related matters, meddling in religion related matters, when they are actually themselves atheist, right? It's like you have decided that you don't belong to this house, you've gone to some other house. Then what right do you have to meddle in the affairs of this house? You left it, and fine, you want to leave, you leave, no problem. But then why do you want to come and meddle, right? This is the thing which I wanted to oppose and make my feelings clear on that. But still, I'm very hopeful of. I mean, we have seen much worse times, and only what I see in the future is strength. But one other important thing, which I would like to just leave and maybe talk in detail in future, but what we miss in all these things is all this is distracting us, right? We have to focus on strengthening ourselves. Yes, we create a defense wall so that we don't get unnecessarily attacked, and people know that we have a wall, we have a strength, and that is by not taking things lying down. Like if people meddle into, they don't allow us to go to temples, or they try and make our temples as tourist places. That is also what one of the things which has happened recently in a in a South Indian state, um, and where the High Court has to come and very clearly say that only devotees will be allowed, or you have to mention that I believe in this devotee. You don't can take a temple as a tourist place. I mean, I've never heard anyone saying a church or a mosque is a tourist place. Why does it have to happen always with temples? I don't know. But we have to give back on this, right? Not take these things lying down, right? And those people who, if those of who are listening to this consider themselves as Hindu, have beliefs in our philosophies, our civilization, etc., then they should uh, ensure that they don't support these kind of political ideologies, because they're getting some material benefits, or for some other reason, I don't know why, but whatever reason it may be, they should not be supporting for such ideologies who are unnecessarily meddling. That will be the way to defend it is because we take our own religion lightly that we suffer like this. Simple point. That is what I wanted to say. But having said that, this should not distract us from our larger goals. Our larger goal is obviously to get rid of the cycle of birth and rebirth, and towards that we need to have a dharma. And it is important to get the right understanding of dharma. What I find is, in the last few decades, there's been a rise in consciousness of people towards our own culture, our own scriptures, our own learning, way of life, etc. But unfortunately, there is a lot of avadharana, misconceptions. Okay, uh, there's a lot of content floating around in YouTube, and people don't know what is writing. For example, take Jyotish. There's so much misunderstanding on what Jyotish is. What is the purpose of Jyotish, right? Maybe I'll take a separate video on that. Uh, Good idea. I never thought about it. Suddenly this idea came now. Yeah, I'll make a video on that as well. So, uh, be it Jyotish, or be it any of the other Vedangas or Veda, or our Upanishads, or um, Gita, or Tantras, Mantra Shastra, all these things. There are so many. The, the the field is wide. I mean, 8 10 years back, till my I'm talking till my mid 30s, I had no idea that there is so much of scriptures, so much written in our. I mean, I'm not talking just Jyotish. Jyotish itself is so much, but beyond that, when you talk of Tantra, so much has been written. Unfortunately, much of that is not translated, but we are not able to focus on that. We are taking our focus on all this petty politics and all these things. The young men of future, Hindus, I think the most important thing which I must by myself lacked, I'm trying to make it up, but I still lack it a lot. First is learning Sanskrit, because Sanskrit will open so many doors. There is so many texts written in Sanskrit, and more importantly, it will give an understanding. Today, we are all relying on translations. Uh, English translations are, in general, I found not good at all. They don't convey. Very few English translators, and many of the, even today, many of the English translations very easily available are those written in colonial times by colonial authors, and they had a very poor opinion of our culture. um, the There are some translations written in Hindi. Fortunately, I know Hindi, so I'm able to read it, which are okay, which are decent, but nothing beats knowing the original language, because the terminologies, the deeper meaning, because in Sanskrit the meanings of the words are very deep. There's a root of a word, and there are prefixes and suffixes, and those carry so much meaning in themselves. So we can serve our society, those who have a penchant for learning, those who like to study, learn, by learning Sanskrit, translating an untranslated book. And we need lot more studies into our own civilization, deeper understanding, and then even debate about it. Our ancients were great debaters. They did not take everything just lying down, okay, it's written in some scripture, so I believe it. No, if you go through scriptures, widely polarizing things are written, right? Each, and hence there are so many paths, or so many paramparas or lineages. In Jyotish itself, there are so many lineages. Some believe this, some believe that, and they have very widely differing opinions. It's only by tarka, by discussion, debate, one would understand, and then by one's own practice and meditation on that, right? Abhyasa, by repeated practice of it, and then contemplation, like they say, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, right? By that only, that becomes a living knowledge within you, deep inside you. But we need more people. We have a lot of people who are superficially interested in things, great interest, but it's still superficial level, and unfortunately, they don't go very deep, right? We need people to go deep and understand things, and make it a part of their lives, right? um, Whatever I have learned Jyotish, and also made it part of my life, the sadhanas, the mantras, etc., they have produced great changes in me. uh, I I mean, I'm very different than what I used to be. I'm not saying I'm a better version or anything. Yeah, there have been things which have improved greatly, but just the way of looking at things, the widening of scope, that is phenomenal. I guess I'm rambling now, and it's pretty late in the day. Thank you so much for your patience. Maybe this was interesting uh, presentation for you. Please do leave your comments. I think if there are questions, I'll be able to answer and share my opinion and thoughts on that. Yeah, thank you so much.